Yeah, I nearly died in that hospital. The doctors didn't know if I was going to live. I don't like to put myself back in that energy too much because it'll kind of get to me. You relive it a bit. But I was 26 years old. I turned 27 in that hospital. I went through Christmas, New Year's. Doctors didn't know what to do with my mom, who helped save my life by calling a doctor in Florida who said, and I'll give you one of the hints that helped save my life. He believed that that cytomegalovirus, CMV, had taken over my immune system. They weren't going to find it in my blood. They weren't going to find it where they were looking. And he believed I needed an antiviral chemotherapy to save my life. So we got him on the phone with my insurance, with the doctor, the urgent care doctor there. And he gave them their theory. And we called the insurance and said, if you don't give this kid a sample of this antiviral chemo, he's going to die.
Hi guys, welcome to the ATP Project. You're with your hosts Steve and Nick. Hey Steve, how are you?
Good, how are you?
We've got a really special one today.
I'm excited today.
We've got a very special guest all the way from the US.
Yes.
So we have got Dane Johnson. So Dane Johnson is the founder of Crohn's Colitis Lifestyle, and that was inspired by his life-threatening battle with Crohn's colitis, which he reversed using natural practices. As a board-certified nutritionist and one of the most successful Crohn's colitis coaches in the world, he's helped thousands around the world find their unique answer to IBD while building a community of supporters, doctors, and healers.
Nice.
Hi, Dane. Welcome to ATP Science Project. How are you going this morning?
I'm great, guys. Thank you so much for having me in that beautiful little intro. Love to hear it. Thanks for being here. And everyone listening in, let's get massive results. We're going to dive into it. We're going to get into what you can do, how you're going to get results, what are the root issues, and let's get massive success. Healing is possible. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Dane. Now, I mean, where to start? We've talked a little bit before the podcast, but I want to ask you what happened to you at the age of 23?
Well, I got the worst thing that ever happened to me happened at 23. I got diagnosed with an incurable disease, first ulcerative colitis. And then later on, a different doctor, different hospital, the disease had also progressed, said, no, you've got Crohn's disease. And another doctor said, no, you've got ulcerative colitis with gastritis. And then another doctor said, no, I've been doing this for 35 years. You have Crohn's disease, sir. So I said, okay, I got inflammatory bowel disease, that's for certain. And I've got Crohn's colitis. And it ruled over my life. I fell into depression. I took every drug imaginable. I wasn't someone interested in natural medicine. I wasn't an antagonist against the conventional medicine. I knew nothing about holistic or functional practices. I was a kid. I was born and raised in Virginia, where we ate Chipotle and McDonald's every day, and we didn't have health issues. And I wanted to put on weight and play sports and lift weights, and I was just a good old boy. So I got into this because I took the biologics, I took the immunomodulators, I took the steroids, I took the antibiotics, and I didn't get better. I got more sick. It became life-threatening. And it really was a pain to purpose thing. We didn't know where to go. And a lot of people might be listening saying, I'm looking down the barrel of spending thousands of dollars, maybe what insurance won't cover. Maybe I'm throwing money at holistic practices and natural practices, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And it's not getting me the result, or I'm completely overwhelmed, or I don't have a budget for any of this. And, that was me. I mean, I was a kid I had no money. I had college debt. I didn't come from a rich family, but it had gotten, by the time I was 25, 26, it just got worse and worse and worse. So Remicade didn't work. Prednisone would work for a little bit, and then I'd taper off, and then the symptoms would come back. They come back with a vengeance, and, there's problems for long-term prednisone I was experiencing. And mesalamine didn't really work. And then, then they put up 6-MP. I got drug-induced hepatitis. I mean, the worst cold sweats and reaction you can imagine. Waking up in a pool of sweat, you're shivering like you just fell off the Titanic type of cold. And it was like hell. It was the worst thing I ever went through, but it turned into pain to purpose. It's why I'm here. And I think something that we need to talk about is, if you get overwhelmed by hearing my story, for everyone listening, the goal for all of us here is to make sure you don't have to go through the intensity I went through. Okay. So I went so deep that hopefully I can help you not go so deep. And we as a team can talk about things you can do today to help make sure you don't get as sick as I did. If you can experience and you can relate with the sickness I went through, well, guess what? We can still climb out.
Amazing. Now, you went through incredible weight loss. I mean, you're 6'1", which is slightly taller than me. And just to put it in context, that's about 185 centimeters, I'm guessing, on average. And you dropped down to 124 pounds, which is for Australians about 55 kilograms, which is, and you've got a photo here, and it looks depressing to me. It looks, a man who's 55 kilos. Like I'm lean and skinny-ish, and I'm 78.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You must have been really emaciated and almost, if I say the word starved, is that exaggerating a bit? And you were going to the bathroom 25 times a day. Now this is horrific.
Anyone who can relate is saying, "Yep, that's me." I mean, when you have that kind of inflammation, specifically in your colon. So I'll give you the first thing I later found out: when your colon is that inflamed, you're going to get anemic. You're going to lose electrolytes. You're going to get dehydrated because the colon absorbs the water. The colon helps absorb some of those minerals and electrolytes. My colon was so inflamed, and that's why I was having so many bowel movements, is I couldn't properly evacuate toxins out of the colon. So it was just like this vomiting, and then this bleeding, and this lack of absorption. And yeah, it was about 122, 124 pounds, depending on, if you weighed me in this hour or that. And 6'1", and a half, almost 6'2". Today I weigh 185 pounds to 190. So we're talking about 63 pounds, which in kgs is close to 30 kgs, like 27 kgs difference, 27, 28 kgs. And I mean, one of the reasons, and I'll give you a little thought behind that, I was like about 20 pounds heavier, 8 to 10 kgs heavier a week prior to that, because they had me on TPN feeding tube, which was kind of it was really inflammatory. So I had a lot of water weight on me. But when they took the feeding tube out, I still couldn't really eat. And so even resetting my body, I just dropped. So that was about a week out of the hospital. And I was in the hospital for about 35 days straight. And in 35 days, I lost. When I went into the hospital, I was about 175 pounds. When I left the hospital, I was about 135. And then a week after leaving the hospital, I was about 122.
Wow.
So we're talking in about 7 weeks, maybe 7 weeks, I lost 60 some pounds. So it's crazy. I know it sounds, some people are going, no way. No, it's that's what happened. And I almost died in that hospital. My mom, my dad, my sisters flew out to California. I'm originally from the East Coast of America, so I was living in Los Angeles, California. And I nearly died in that hospital. The doctors didn't know if I was going to live. My mom took over as kind of like head doctor because everyone was confused and they didn't know I was getting better. I mean, to give you an idea, I was on 4 different antibiotics infused. I was on 200 milligrams of infused prednisone. So the most they're usually going to do orally is like 60, 70.
Yeah, I would have said I've heard 50, but yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, wow. They didn't know they didn't know what was going on. They were like, we got them on the max dose you can do of an anti-inflammatory, a cortisol steroid like prednisone. I was on 3 grams of Dilaudid. So as you as practitioners know what that is. That's 7 times, Dilaudid is 7 times stronger than morphine. We're talking about legal heroin that's going to knock out the pain. It's the strongest dose they can legally give to you. You are going to be flying high as a kite. And that's what it was. I was having psychotic breakdowns. I don't remember this part, but my mom said later, she even documented in a recording that I was talking to the window. She said I was talking to my dead twin sister. Very crazy stuff. So we're talking like living in a hospital with your family sleeping on the floor next to you. I don't like to put myself back in that energy too much because it'll kind of get to me. You relive it a bit. But I was 26 years old. I turned 27 in that hospital. I went through Christmas, New Year's. Doctors didn't know what to do with my mom, who helped save my life by calling a doctor in Florida who said, and I'll give you one of the hints that helped save my life. He believed that cytomegalovirus, CMV, had taken over my immune system. They weren't going to find it in my blood. They weren't going to find it where they were looking. And he believed I needed an antiviral chemotherapy to save my life. So we got him on the phone with my insurance, with the doctor, the urgent care doctor there. And he gave them their theory. And we called the insurance and said, if you don't give this kid a sample of this antiviral chemo, he's going to die. They gave me the sample. They finally, it was like $7,000 sample. I think the total, chemo I was on for a month, because I had to take it intravenously. And then when I left the hospital, they gave me an oral amount, and it kills red blood cells. It makes your mind feel like goop. So I was on that for a month, but that's what helped save my life. And so that, the 4 or 5 years of chronic sickness before, something I really want to say and just give someone a real big aha moment right now from my case. I went to UCLA, I went to Cedars-Sinai, I went to Mayo Clinic. Nobody mentioned viral load. It was never even discussed or looked at. No one mentioned Candida yeast overgrowth, which I found when I later started doing functional medicine. It was never talked about. I think it might be a little better today, but back then, nutrition, it won't matter. Diet doesn't matter. That's what was being told to me when 2011, 2012. And, us as holistic, functional practitioners just know that's just the craziest thing to say to somebody. Toxic load wasn't looked at. H. pylori wasn't discussed. And I found all of these things to be a massive issue, because when you get chronically sick, if you're someone who's starting to deal with the story and you're relating with 25 blab moments a day, 60 pounds underweight, can't eat anything, no energy, your body's freaking out, you feel like you're knocking on death's door. Number one, it's co-infections. Okay. It's not one infection. When there's an environment for bacteria or candida, parasitic to thrive, they are all going to thrive. Okay. They literally help everything thrive. It's like a pond versus a river. You have a stagnant pond. Your liver's going to get overwhelmed. Your lymphatic system's going to get overwhelmed. Your kidney's not going to work properly. You're probably you're only sweating when you get cold sweats. Your nervous system is constantly in the sympathetic. Your immune system is completely tired. Your NK cells are weakened. Your white blood cell count is either hyperactive or completely weakened. So it's just like this vicious cycle. And so I had massive co-infections no one told me about. My drainage pathways were completely clogged. That's why it got worse and worse over the years. So when I was 23, first diagnosed, a little bit of blood, give some prednisone, goes away, then comes back. And what we see is these symptoms get worse and worse. And that's what happened to me. 23, it was a nuisance. 24, 25, okay, I'm 140 pounds. I can't really eat anything. I poop my pants 100 times, out in public. I lost control of my bowel movements on a date, on an airplane, in a car. Just most shameful things you can imagine. I was a kid. Like, I'm a shell of myself. Like, I have no confidence. Just a shell. And that's why I can talk about it today, because I got my confidence back. I got my life back. I got my empowerment back. And I'm here to say it out loud. Like, I've been through all the shame you can go through with inflammatory bowel disease. You freaking name it. And it was torture. But pain to purpose, guys, that's what we're here to talk about. So if you can relate with that, it's, I've been through the worst of this. I've been chronically sick. I've nearly died of inflammatory bowel disease. I've seen many different doctors and taken every medication possible. And once I left that hospital, to tell you the rest of my story, I just got to a point where there's nothing they can do. I woke up after the chemotherapy. I became aware, and I just checked myself out of the hospital. I got in a wheelchaired home, and I was bed rest for about 6 weeks straight. All I did was watch Netflix with my sister, my mom taking turns living with me on a couch and in a bed until I was strong enough to start walking again. And it was crazy. I couldn't handle any stress, any intense conversations. I couldn't really eat much. And that's why, I just lost weight. And, before they had me on TPN feeding tube. So in the hospital, I was on that TPN for like 2 weeks. I just didn't eat, just getting infused nutrition. And it was just, why me? And as I started weaning myself off the painkillers, it was like I was pooping glass. I couldn't not scream. It's like, let me go to the bathroom, right? No one wants to hear you fart in the bathroom, right? Well, imagine someone screaming in agony as if someone's taken a blade to their skin in the bathroom. That's what it was like. I could not scream out in pain in front of my sister or my mom. So it was insane. And even out there listening, guys, as I express this to you, it's like I'm reliving it. It's been 10 years, but it just lives inside of you, too. Because you're always the same person when you're chronically sick. You're still that healthy person. You're that same spirit. You're just stuck. You're like a shell. Your mind is still there, and everything, all of your power, all your freedom, all your ability to live normal and not worry about the bathroom, not worry about your gut, it's just gone. And then when it's gone, it literally feels like you can't get it back after a while. It's like God took it from you. God has smited you. And you just don't know what to do. And then it just overwhelms your brain. It overwhelms your spirit.
And I think that's what I love about your story, Dane, is, and I think that we see that a lot. Well, I see that a lot with clients as well, is you get to the point where you want to take your own power back and be in control of your own health destiny. And I think in, the medical model, yes, it sounds like, to a point they did save your life with the viral chemotherapy drug. If that didn't happen, then that wouldn't, you might not be here. But you get to a point, and I think a lot of people with chronic conditions, severe chronic conditions, get stuck in that loop of, the treatment that the medical model has is basically they're not looking for the underlying cause. They're just sort of maintaining the symptomology basically. And a lot of people get stuck and they lose their hope, and then they just can't get out of that. So the fact that you actually said, this is it, I want my life back, I want my health back, and I'm going to find the answers, I think is really empowering to a lot of people who are stuck in that loop and think that there is no way out.
Yeah. And there isn't a way out unless you make one.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So I want to give you, everyone listening, I want to give you a sample of the fire you need to get in your heart, you need to get in your belly, and you need to get in your mind, or you're going to be stuck. Okay? You are the answer. You need to become the CEO of your health. You need to get off your knees. You need to fight. Bleeding nails, crawl your ass out of that hole. Get your mind, get your heart, get your spirit, get everything you can of manifestation power. There's 3 ways to manifest, okay? Or to manifest something changing in your life, okay? You can buy things that can help. You can focus your energy on them, and then you can use your time, okay? You need all three to get results. But I'll tell you, the most powerful two forms to get manifestation in your life is energy and time. Okay. Money is only good if you have great focus and great energy to put towards it. I can give you a little perfect little answer right here, but if you can't act, if you can't get your mind right, if you can't take action and journal on it and be the answer and not just wait for the conventional or the natural doctor to be the answer, you're going to stumble. And so what happened was, I'm a fiery person by nature. I had already pushed a lot in life before I got sick. I had decided I was going to go back to school for natural medicine. So I was already a year in when I almost died.
Wow.
I had already been trying, not perfectly successfully, but some success 4 years prior before I almost died. So there was a lot. 4 years is a long time to try. Yeah. And I say this, God, the universe, energy had prepared me for that moment. So when I got pushed into a corner where I didn't feel like we didn't have any more money. Okay. There wasn't a big amount. We already spent 30, 40 grand at USD. Okay. And I was dying. That's a hard pill to swallow, and it's not easy. But all of that training beforehand that I had paid for, seen a natural path and all that, it did come in hand for when I got off my knees and said, hey, I'm going to do this. So I was housebound for a year at that point. Jeez. And so it was either you're going to give up and you're going to be a victim of this, which the whole world will accept. I really want to speak to you right now. Okay. The whole world will accept you being a victim. You were diagnosed with an incurable disease. Everyone agrees with that. No one's going to fight with that. If you create a reality and you enroll your loved ones in the whole universe, you enroll them that I'm a sick person, that I'm a victim, that this just happened to me, and I'm helpless against it, which is what most of us are doing when we've been beaten down spiritually. I'm just helpless against it. I'm a victim. The whole world will accept it. And then that's it. Like, go on disability, move back in with mom or dad, surgeries, all that stuff. And then I could see that I could choose all that and the world would accept it, but I chose not to accept it. I chose a harder path that wasn't clear, that was expensive, that was tough. And I just wasn't willing to give up who I was going to be. And that was a fire. And it was a fire I had been conditioning. I had gotten depressed. I had lost hope in the past, especially at 23 years old. For all my parents out there listening right now, you got to leave some space for your kids. And even if you're 22, 25, or 30, just listening to this, or 45, and you'd never been sick before, Have some empathy for yourself. And then you got to get to a place. I want you to meditate. I want you to pray. I want you to read. I want you to go on walks. I want you to get your feet on the ground and in the sand. Have a conversation with the almighty divine energy of what is. Call it what you want. I don't care. Kermit the Frog, Jesus, Buddha, the universe, the North Star, whatever it is. You call it and you have a conversation with it and you ignite your godly, intuitive nature, your ability to be a creator, your ability to be intuitive, and your ability to be a manifester. And you start igniting those three frequencies inside of yourself. And you will stand up and you will take one foot in front of the other and it will be foggy in front of you. But as you take a step, something will appear. And as you take another step, something will appear and it will become obvious, not hard, obvious what to do.
And that's why I love your story, Dane, because you focus so much on this. And we're going to talk about your program that you've got a little bit later on, but this is part of that.
Yeah.
But I think this is a big part of what's missing in people's healing journeys is, that the mindset, the belief, what you focus on expands. So if you're focusing on your illness, you're just, making more illness, and you have to step away from that and see the bigger picture and actually change your mindset and really do the work on, that stress management, the meditation, the positive thinking, all of that sort of stuff is probably, I think, as a practitioner, one of the most important elements in healing, and that's often overlooked.
Absolutely.
As the importance of it. So, yeah, I love that you really focus on that. Yeah.
It's the most important, because even if you come in and you're working with a practitioner who gives you a magic pill or a magic peptide or an alternative therapy like HBOT, and you're like, oh, I'm feeling better. It's short-lived if you don't fix the frequency and the energy going inside, because you're going to have another reaction. And then you're going to get all upset again because your magic pill or your magic protocol stopped working as well, and you're back here. Because the cure for disease is not the ability to eradicate it. It's the ability to respond to it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's the cure for a healthy marriage. It's a cure for a happy life. It's a cure for anything in life. All life requires balance. And to be in balance is to be able to respond in real time to any adversity or any stress energy.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been on your website and cyber stalked you, so to speak, and you offer some great tips for healing Crohn's and colitis. And I love the fact that your first one is healing starts in your mind. And I mean, people think, oh, colitis, Crohn's, that's a bowel disease. We'll send you to the gastroenterologist. She looks after the gastro, and that's it. That's all you have to worry about. Nothing to do with your mind. But, we've done podcasts galore on the gut-mind connection. And I love this first process about starting in the mind. I mean, how did you, like you've spoke a bit about getting your mind changed to be able to help this, but I'd love you to speak more about how the mind affects the gut, for example.
Oh, I mean, we can talk about the science, but I want to give you plan action steps, because there's one thing for everyone listening that you can do right now is it's like a wave. Don't get overwhelmed with the science of how a wave works. Just learn to ride it. Okay.
Good.
So that's what you have to really do. Is the answer is just riding the wave. We can dissect the wave as much as you want. That might excite you about the wave, okay, like the vagal nerve and its connection to the gut, and about the nervous system, and about the chemical releases from your thoughts and ideas and your experiences, and that everything is a signal, and stress is just simply an energy. And the law of relativity tells us that for one energy exists, the opposite must exist. So if stress makes you sick, what makes you healthy? Gratitude, love, passion. Okay. Healing starts in the mind. So this is what the takeaway. Okay. This is how you ride the wave, quote unquote. Healing starts in the mind, because you have to see and start feeling the idea of being healthy before your body is going to come with it. Okay. You feel better in your mind before your body gets better. Most people, for instance, they're saying, I got to see it to believe it. And that's wrong. You've got to believe it to see it.
Saying I say that all the time.
He says it all the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You got to believe it. So what does that mean? I'll give you some to-dos. When I was chronically sick, depressed, I would wear pajamas everywhere. I wouldn't shave. I just turn on Netflix, waiting for the drugs to kick in, waiting for whatever my mom bought to kick in, waiting for this perfect carnivore diet, only have bone broth for 5 days to kick in, and I'm going to be miserable. When I finally got real results, I got dressed for the day even if I wasn't going anywhere. I started the day with prayer and purpose even if it wasn't going anywhere. I started with essential oils right here. I got 2 from Vibrant Blue Oils. Jody Cohen, shout out. She's amazing. I started with reading a book on how to. I went to the earth. I started gardening. So I'll tell you, I'll give you a morning. When I was chronically sick, how a morning might start at 24, 25. Wake up at 10 o'clock, not even want to get out of bed, miserable, room's a disaster. Finally get up and mom or dad or someone would say, or, what can I do for you? What would you like to eat? And me going, oh, I don't know. Nothing feels good. I had a terrible night. I'm in so much pain. I don't even think I can eat today. I'm losing weight, just worry, fear, doubt, anger, resentment, and then someone around me trying to pull me back up and me just pulling them down with me. Don't mean to, just pulling them down. Okay, so that's my mind. And I was, as I said earlier, I was justified. I was a justified victim. I could continue to put that energy out and no one was going to argue. So if my doctor or best friend or anyone said, maybe you should just try looking on the bright side, you know what my response was back then? What do you mean look on the bright side? How could you dare you say that to me? You know nothing of what this is like. You know nothing. You try having incurable disease. I did nothing to deserve this. It was like a match on freaking fire. So see what I'm saying? And what is anyone going to do around you?
They're going to acquiesce. They're going to, oh, no, yes, you're right. Oh, don't, and they tiptoe around you then.
See, this is the coaching. Everyone keeps talking to you about the science behind it. You've heard the science, and we can go over the science. I could do a whole podcast on the science, but you haven't been coached on what it really looks like. That's what it looks like. And you're going, oh my God. And I got no parents right now. And people are going, yep, I totally get that. So here's how you ride the wave. You wake up. You let the sun in your room. You look to a clean room. Your house should be clean. It should be organized because that's what you would be doing if you were healthy. Okay. You stop acting sick. You start acting as if you're already healthy. You get dressed for the day. You wake up. You let that sun in. You turn on Bob Marley. You don't go to the TV. You go to the book. You go to prayer and purpose. You go to aromatherapy. You go to your journal. How did last night go? What's a potential solution? What's going good? What is the goal of my day? What is the goal of my week? Flip it 4 days forward. Today, I'm going to go in and try a fast, a bone broth fast. I'm going to try this new type of butternut squash soup. I'm going to try congee. I'm going to increase the amount of rotisserie chicken by 20% and see how I do with volume of this food. I'm going to try pressure cooking this and I'm going to make sure I'm not using seed oil here. I'm going to get 20 pages done of reading this book. I'm going to connect with 2 other people in IBD University. I'm going to search today for a naturopath doctor who can connect with me in this local area. I'm going to try to see if I can go for a 2-mile walk without having a bowel movement. I just made all that up. I just made all that up in my mind. You see how strong my mind is? I can focus on solutions. I can come up with 20 solutions. Remember I told you, when you walk in fog, it is obvious.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the mindset. And then what you're doing is you're creating dopamine. You're engaging the parasympathetic. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to meditate on 20 minutes on how my day is going, what variables I want to shift intuitively. I'm going to increase oxygen in my body, which is going to help my immune system work properly. It's going to help drive oxygen to the cellular level. It's going to help reset my microbiome. It's going to help activate my vagal nerve. I might even do some tapping on my meridians called EFT tapping to help on that frequency. I'm going to go up and then that person's going to say, mom, dad, brother, say, hey, how are you? What can I do for breakfast? You're going to say, I'm great. This is what's good. Or I'm doing good. This is what I'm excited about. And this is what I'm still working on. So let's say I still had blood. I'm going, hey, I slept about 20% better than last week. Now I might have still woken up 3 times in that night, but hey, guess what? This is what's good. I slept 20% better than last week. My blood was a 9 out of 10. Now it's a 6. Amen. Let's go. I'm already healed, baby. Let's go. High fives. Get the frequency going. High five, hug. Then you go directly to Bob Marley. I want to love you. Turn that music on. Let that sun in, baby. Let's go. You see that energy? Are you feeling that? Everyone is smiling or smirking. And what happened to that mother, best friend, significant other who's in that kitchen with you? They're feeling better now too.
Yeah.
They're less worried about you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same circumstances, same problem, completely different experience. You compound that day after day after day, you're going to be changing the signal to your cells. You're going to be changing the nervous system. You're going to be engaging the vagal nerve. Your digestion's going to get better. Your microbiome's going to reset better. And you're going to be able to intuitively make decisions. What am I going to do to get rid of this blood? So instead of complaining and getting depressed about the blood, you focus on what is going good. What is good? I start every team call with what's good. I start every conversation I have with what's good. So that's what I say, man. Healing starts in the mind. You have to create the feeling of being good. You have to stop acting sick, get dressed for the day, clean that house, use God's energy, the sun, the soil, the air, the affirmations, the frequencies, and you just add one foot in front of the other. And that's how I healed. That's how I did it.
Well, I mean, the body follows the mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And everything starts with a thought. You can't achieve anything without a thought first. So you have to put the right thoughts in there, So that's why I just think.
And you can't have negative thoughts when you're chronically depressed.
That's right.
Or you're a victim. You can't have creative thought. The best thoughts I had about to heal myself, it was coming up like an idea. So I can give you 100 ideas. I'll give you things. I've thought of these in meditation. I was alone. I was 2012, 2013. There was nothing. I had a few books out there. I was alone. I was a kid. During meditation, I realized that I shouldn't be watching trauma movies. During meditation, I realized that if I read every day, I couldn't think about what I was depressed about. Try to have your own thoughts and read a page of a great book. You can't do it at the same time. Yeah. It was during that I realized, hey, maybe I should, there's something going on in my colon. Maybe I should use some enemas. Let me research that. It was during meditation that I realized how to salivate and how to even know when my parasympathetic nervous system was engaged. Eyes dilated, you're in the sympathetic. You're not if you are salivating, you're in the parasympathetic. Your belly breathing, that's going to help. What's your heart rate? All that matters, And so it was like, and then it was during meditation that I realized I was having a negative reaction to cashews.
Oh
yeah.
Your body will tell you. You have no intuition because you're not using your mind. Rule number 1, healing starts in the mind.
Yes.
Yeah. And we literally just did a podcast on meditation last week.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
You have to quiet the mind, and that's where the healing starts. You take away all the noise and you start to actually listen to your body. And I think a lot of people are so disconnected with their own body, that they just don't even pick up any signals. So just going in and quieting the mind really is so healing.
Absolutely, and you're right about choosing your attitude. You can't choose you've got Crohn's, colitis, but you can always choose your attitude towards that disease, and that's what you did. And that's sort of riding the wave. I love that term because I'm not in practice. Nic's in practice still, and she literally talks to sick people for a living, and it's very down, isn't it?
It is very down, and I think that the biggest thing I see is that, like you said, everyone puts their health and their life in someone else's hands instead of actually looking at. So as a practitioner, I'm there to lead and coach them, but they have to actually take control of their own health. They can't rely on somebody else to do it for them, and I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people get stuck in. They look for someone out there to fix them instead of realizing that they have the power to fix themselves. They just need the guidance.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, the answer's within. It's not without.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's it.
And you have to just believe that. But when I believed it and I started taking massive action for 4 years, I didn't. The answer was out. Give me a medication, give me a steroid, give me a perfect diet. We were hiring NDs and all that. And then I got fed up. Something clicked in me, and I just started running it myself. Be the CEO of your health. I promise you're going to learn a ton. And I think I want to echo one more big point. If you're like me and you're getting overwhelmed with, breath work's going to heal me. I sit here and breathe. I have to be a monk for the rest of my life. Like that's what my limiting beliefs. What really turned me on to meditation, breath work, calming my mind is how creative I got.
Yes. Yep.
I want to really underline that. Man, I came up with my best ideas. Write down your problems and then go meditate for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just write 4 questions into the universe. How do I get rid of the blood? How can I gain 20 pounds? How can I sleep through the night without waking up? How can I work on my skin? Just write it and then breathe and just ask. Yeah. And watch what comes up when the pain drops, when your nervous system gauge, when you let go and you get present and you drop in, as they say in breath work. Watch what happens. Watch what will come from right inside of you.
Magic's that's where the magic happens. It's amazing. I love all that sort of stuff.
Absolutely true. And as I said, there's this beautiful document you've created that anyone can download if they go on your website.
Yeah, it's free.
It's right on the website.
www.crohnscolitislifestyle.com. Pretty cool website. And people can go on there, and this is 6 tips to healing. And one of the tips that you've spoken a lot about the mind, which I believe, I agree with you, it's the most important area. You've also talked about herbs as part of the SHIELD program. The H is the herbs.
Yeah, so maybe we can explain the SHIELD program.
Yeah, explain the SHIELD program.
So here's my idea. When I looked at how I healed, okay, so I want to give you some ideas of how I really got results, because I failed with famous diets. I'm talking SCD diet, low FODMAP diet, carnivore paleo style. I even did David Klein's fruitarian diet, and I was lucky enough to get him on the phone later on and have a few conversations with him. But each thing I tried, as through meditation, to bring that again, I realized there were certain values that each generic strategy of how to heal yourself of IBD that were around in the 80s and 90s and 2000s had certain sparks of value. When I finally healed, I had actually compounded and cherry-picked all of it into one unique program that I personalized to myself.
Wow.
That's how I did it. I literally took part. I tried the 20 bananas a day. I was like, this isn't going to work for me. Then I tried the all meat, and there was good things. I got the most results out of meat, but then the fruit had certain values that I was like, wow, there's actually something unique here with how it handles yeast and how it cleans the bowels, and it works with the colon and monosaccharides versus polysaccharides and light fibers and the amount of water in here and getting enough that I can get calories and absorption, because I was having such intolerances to polysaccharides that SAD diet was teaching me. See, I had trained myself on all of this, and I was narrowing down where strategies were working and where they weren't. And so I was subbing parts of strategies to generic formulas with others' formulas. Yeah. I was like, nope, this part of that formula works well for me. This part of that formula worked well for me. And I woke up one day, I was 185 pounds. I could bench 275 pounds. I was running 4 or 5 miles. I was medication free. I could do 25 pull-ups in a row. And I just said, what in the bleepity bleep, bleep, bleep did I just do?
Yeah.
I was 28 years old.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And it was just like, what? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point, is that, like you said, parts of one diet might have worked for you and not other parts. And I think that's where people get stuck in, that this is what the research says is what I should be doing, so I should do this. And it doesn't work, but they stick with it. Yeah. And they don't realize that everybody's
parts of it work.
Parts of it work, but you have to tweak it for your own personalization. And I think that people miss that, in that just because the research says do this, if it's not working for you, don't do it. Everybody's different. And I think that's where this is great, because you're sort of teaching that there's not one size fits all. Everything has to be individualized.
We often quote Hippocrates in our profession, and one man's food's another man's poison is very accurate, because I'm sure all those diets work for some people somewhere along the line.
Exactly.
In America, and I'm just quoting American figures here, about 750,000 people have Crohn's. It's a massive disease, and it's a huge amount of people, and it's quite a common disorder here in Australia, and on the increase, because it's sort of an autoimmune disease. And when you read about, say, just Crohn's, it's a lifelong disease, and you never get cured from it, and you're always going to suffer it. I mean, I know I'm telling you stuff, but I'm just for the listener.
Debatable, yeah. I totally.
Very debatable. I mean, my personal thing, I had a chronic arthritis, not. By the way, nowhere near as severe as you, my disorder that I had, but I've cured it, my arthritis, and it's gone. Yeah, it's just like an autoimmune disease. I had it when I got it when I was 20. There's a bit of similarities there, but it was not as bad as yours. I wasn't gonna, I wasn't on the.
Oh no, but don't deflame it. Don't deflame it. And I don't want to get away from this, but the word cure doesn't. I want to say one foot on this, because I think this is going to be impactful for everyone listening. If you take it at face value, the word cure has no value to any of us. It actually doesn't make sense, because the word cure can also mean to eradicate, and you can't eradicate anything. And I'll prove it to you right now. If you get the flu, do you cure it, or do you put it in remission after it's gone? What do you guys think?
Well, the virus is always around.
It'll come back.
You get the flu, and it goes away after a week. They tell them we cured the flu, right? That's why we're not all thinking, I've got fluitis for the rest of my life, right? All right. But when it comes back a year later, was it just in remission, or did you cure it?
Yeah. It's always got the come back.
The definition of a cure versus remission is if the root cause has changed.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason we say you can cure the flu is because you got a new form of a flu. You got a new strain. You got a new seasonal flu. Mm-hmm. That's why we don't say that the flu is incurable. It's curable. You got a different one. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So let me give you one other example that we can all relate with.
Sure.
If all of us stop brushing our teeth every morning and every night for 3 months, would we get gingivitis?
I would.
All three of us. So would it be safe to say that we all have chronic gingivitis and it's just in remission because of the efforts we take? And the moment we stop taking those efforts or a stressor happens, that we will have a flare and the gingivitis will come back?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So none of us can cure gingivitis.
No.
Can you? What about a bad day? Can you cure a bad day?
I wish.
The idea of headaches? Can you hear headaches? Doctors, here's my face value argument. Can you give me one example of something you can cure?
Mm.
Yeah.
Just give me at face value. You can't cure because you can't eradicate anything.
Yeah.
You cannot guarantee something will never show its face again. Nothing in this world. That's face value. But let's talk about how, and I love what you said about I'm cured of that arthritis, because the word cure is such a powerful term to use for your nervous system and your identity. What he's saying is I no longer allow myself to identify with that. I use my personal power and my God-given right to eliminate that verbiage and that identity from my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful power that you have the right to do, and no one has the right to tell you otherwise.
That's true. You know,
No one has the right to tell you that you are this identity, and you have to carry that trauma as baggage for the rest of your life. It is your personal experience to say, I release this idea, this identity. Because how can you even have an identity of disease if you don't understand it?
Yeah.
What is inflammatory bowel disease and what causes it? Well, if you don't know what causes it, how can you identify it and how can you say it's incurable?
Yeah.
It's true.
And I think that identity thing is really powerful because people do, and I've seen it in the past, people identify with their condition and that keeps them stuck. And if you took that condition away, they wouldn't even know who they are anymore.
Yeah.
So they cling on to it. And I think that's why I think that identity thing is so pivotal because at the end of the day, all these conditions, we've named them. They're just an imbalance. There's something that's created through an imbalance, and we've named them, and then people latch onto that name, and then I have this, I have my Crohn's or my this, is in that they own it, you know, and it really keeps them stuck.
There was a book in the 90s called Love Your Disease That's Keeping You Healthy. And I went, well, that's the weirdest title. I remember it from reading it. It was in like naturopathic philosophy in the 90s when I studied. And it was like, and people identify with the disease and say, nope, it's incurable. And it sounded a bit like you when you were 23. Nope, this is incurable. I'm a victim. I'm going to love with this disease forever. And that's it. And I was a little bit like that. I just got on with life a bit because I just couldn't walk properly. You know, I just had terrible. And it's funny, we recorded a podcast yesterday, and I've run 4 or 5 marathons. So obviously my spine and knees, that can't be that bad if I can run 42 or 26.3 miles. So you know, but it's funny that and looking at you, I mean, and your photos, you know, you've got the before photo which we've talked about, but the after photo, you look remarkably healthy.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I can eat. I have 1 to 3 bad day, and not a bad day, but just what you eat, and 1 to 3 bowel movements. And sometimes 3 bowel movements is better if you're eating a lot of fiber and plant-based foods. You usually want to have a little bit more bowel movements. Sometimes having 1 bowel movement isn't enough actually for your drainage pathways to properly evacuate toxins, especially if you're working on biofilms or you're working on candida bacteria and your body needs to release those toxins, or you're doing a heavy metal detox or an environmental detox. You need your bowels moving. Normal calprotectin in April, my calprotectin was a 0. Normal healthy bowel movements. I feel great. I've got 2 kids. I, can work 80 hours a week. I go to the gym all the time, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. I mean, I haven't taken a medication since 2015.
Wow.
So, and it's not easy. It's not like I think a lot of us, we look to our leaders. I saw Tony Robbins. I always think of this. I'd love to ask him one day, but he named his documentary on Netflix, I Am Not Your Guru. And I think it's because people get sold on this idea that eventually us who are leading are more than just men and women. And that it's just like hard work and manifestation and affirmations and putting it on the line and failing and getting up and trying again and pushing it that gets us into that place of leadership. And it hasn't been easy through my life, but I've worked hard to understand when I do get kicked down, how to get back up and how to do it right. And so that's the big thing. But, working off what we were talking about with Crohn's colitis on the shield, Shield is that idea to protect yourself against this idea that I'm going to be a chronically sick person for the rest of my life, because that really hurt me spiritually and emotionally. I was 23 and I didn't know how to defend against myself against that. And that's why I built Shield, because if the cure for all disease is the ability to respond to adversity, that's the ability to have a shield. So shield is a metaphor for going through life. If you want to accomplish things in life, it requires stress. You want to have kids? Stress. Marriage? Stress. You want to run a marathon? Stress. You want to make more money? Stress. You want to move? You want to travel? You want to go to Italy on vacation? Stress. You're not going to be able to live in your bubble forever. So how can I protect myself as I live my life to the fullest? I need a shield. But the thing with shield is it can be personalized to you. So it's also an acronym that stands for supplements, herbs, imagination. Okay. Your creative is very important. Exercise. Are you exercising for performance? Or are you exercising for health? Lifestyle. What is your lifestyle, right? How do you want to live? And I continue to move my lifestyle in a way that makes me healthy and happy at the same time. And diet. I actually don't like the word diet, but it just fits the acronym. You know, nutrition, like diet suggests that you're putting yourself in short-term imprisonment in a way you don't want to, because you're looking for an outcome. It's a fear-based word, really. You know, I'm on a diet. Why are you on a diet? Because I want to lose 20 pounds or because I have Crohn's colitis, right? Well, if you go to a person who believes in veganism, and I love the vegan energy around it, or vegetarian either, they're not on a diet. They are living a lifestyle that they choose, right? And so that's another thing, is we want to really start putting deep intellectual energy and frequency and manifestation around our words and our actions. So when I build my shield, or you build your shield, it is yours. You can cherry pick from me. You can cherry pick from anyone. You are the CEO of it. You are here to learn from our practitioners and other people who have been down this path and continue to refine and build it strong. And then you are going to test it on the battlefield. You're going to test it through life. You're going to test it with celebration meals. We don't do cheat meals. We don't believe in cheating. We only celebrate. So with celebration meals, with travel, with stress, with getting in the best shape of your life. And here's my deep why, because, you know, one of the things that scared me and really hurt me, and I know it's hurting a lot of listeners, is I got to eat this way for the rest of my life. That didn't work for me. Here's how it changed. You got to get rid of fear-based energy, and you have to turn it into desire energy. Desire energy is a much better gasoline than fear. So what I decided one day is I said, hold the phone. Everything the universe is asking me to do to heal myself of this quote unquote incurable disease is the exact same effort I would need to do to be the best version of myself.
True.
So what if I put a program out there that said, become the best, the sexiest version of yourself, look better naked, have all the energy in the world. You don't need caffeine. You're going to look 25 forever. Let your hair grow nice and vivacious. Be the strongest. Get 7% body fat. And this was all these headlines and billboards. You're like, oh, man, I'm into it. I want to make as much money as possible. You got to, wake up at 4:30. All this stuff, right? All these things we want, right? And you were to sit down and say, okay, what's the answer? It's the exact same thing as healing yourself of chronic disease.
Yeah, 100%. True. Yeah. Absolutely true.
Get rid of the toxins, eat right, go to bed, work on your circadian rhythm, engage your nervous system, change your language, look at who you're hanging out with, stop eating trash, supplements. Look at anyone. Look at Brian Johnson, the guy who's trying to live till he's 500 years old. He takes 120 capsules a day.
That's not living.
Same thing. Look at what the billionaires are doing. Look at Dana White with the UFC. It's the same thing. Healing yourself of an incurable disease and being the best version of yourself is the same thing. So here's the exciting thing. I want to give you a deep why, everyone listening. Skip trying to be normal. Skip trying to be who you used to be. Oh, I just want to be how I used to be. I just want to be my old self. No. Dig a tunnel, go right past normal, go right past who you used to be, and run right towards you 2.0.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, who you used
Where
to
the
be.
elites are going. That's where the billionaires are going. Go to the same place.
You can't get to where you want to be from where you were. So a lot of people, I want to be what I was. What you were a lot of times led you to where you ended up. So you have to then become a new person. You have to have a new mindset. You have to have intention in everything you do, and the right intention. And I think that's a lot of times people just go through blindly, like with the nutrition, the diet, the exercise. There's no intention behind it. Why are you doing it? So and I think that's a really important part as well.
It's true, and what I know our time is limited with you, and we appreciate every second you give us. I'd just like to ask a question. If I was listening to this, and I'm say I'm suffering Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, or inflammatory bowel disease, whatever they've got, and they're seeing a doctor, not getting great results. I was just wondering if you could speak to them about some simple take-home messages that they can sort of run with. Yeah. I mean, of course, get onto your website. You got a great resource here. It's like 30-odd pages, and you're giving it away. It's amazing. And but what would you say to those people who are suffering chronically with these terrible illnesses?
I love it. Okay, so let's discuss the first 5 moves I want you to make right now. That if someone had told me this when I was chronically sick, it would have saved me thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours, and years of pain and suffering for my family and I. Okay, if I had done these 5 moves. Number 1. Okay, besides, let's say you're working with your doctor. Before the 5 moves, let me give you a pre-elementary idea. Don't get too angry at your doctor. Don't get too resentful. Just keep working with your doctor or find a new one. Okay, the answer is all 3. Natural medicine with a good conventional doctor who will listen, and you becoming your CEO of your health. That's the triangle. Okay, that's the perfect triangle. You at the top is the CEO of your health with a open-minded, listening conventional doctor. Trade around. I know it's tough. It's hard to get. And then on a team of people in functional medicine who specialize in IBD. That's the perfect triangle. Okay, all three focused, all 3 pushing forward, and that's how you're going to get your life back. And this is going to get behind you. So the first 5 moves I want you to make before, after you look at that perfect triangle, and that being the baseline of success. Number 1, I want you to build your daily blueprint. Okay. One of the biggest mistakes I made is that I was trying things short term because I read about it or a naturopath doctor had told me about it, and I would try it for a week or 2 and then quit. I was doing it because someone told me. The answer was outside of myself, like we had talked about. So this is an example. The daily blueprint is something that you're going to decide that you're going to commit to on a day-to-day basis. It is your commitment to yourself. Now, the goal here, okay, write this down. Consistency is worth more than perfection. What are you going to commit to on a day-to-day basis that you're not going to get overwhelmed doing? Because I got overwhelmed 1,000 times and quit. Okay, I already know you've been quitting like crazy. What are you going to do on a day-to-day basis? I'll give you a little hack. The daily blueprint, 80% of what you do should be the first hour of the day and the last 1 or 2 hours of night. Try to free up the middle of your day so you can do it and you can get your life back. But you can do probiotics or supplements or make a morning breakfast or an elemental shake, and you can do a night routine with a mucosal healing enema or binders, and you can do a homemade meal, or you can do paleo style, AIP style. You can do that meditation morning and night for 5-10 minutes. You can do earthing. I mean, there's so much you can do in there. You could do ozone, HBOT, peptides, whatever, right? The second thing, so that's called your daily blueprint. We teach the daily blueprint. That's the word I came up with when I realized through meditation that my plan was all over the place. I needed a plan that I was going to commit to. Now, I was going to cherry pick whatever this person said or whatever they said, but it needed to fit in my blueprint that I was committed to. Okay. That's one of the things. When you're the CEO of your health, you need to commit to your daily blueprint. What are you going to do from when you wake up to the moment you go to bed? Okay. Number 2, as you get experience, I want you to start customizing your daily blueprint. Okay. So as you try things are going to work. You're going to be uncertain about this. You want to start then customizing the experience, and that's where you could use help with professionals of, am I having problems with fats, fibers, polysaccharides, sugars? How do I get enough calories in? Where's my proteins, my macros, my micros? I'm having low energy. I'm still getting bleeding. What can I do specifically for the sigmoid colon? You start customizing that plan with things that make sense, that have low risk and high reward. I call that playing defense. Don't go on the offense. The offense is the SWAT team. That's the antipathogenics, the biofilm busters. Don't mess with that yet. So you're going to play defense on there, probiotics, short chain fatty acids, binders, enough water, electrolytes, trace minerals, all that stuff to help you out, mitochondria energy, carnitine, D-ribose, B-complex, methylfolate, P5P, B6, all that stuff, CoQ10, all that good stuff to get that mitochondria humming, okay? And you want it extremely bioavailable. So look at how can you start customizing. Now, I know I said a lot to you, but I also said it for the ninjas out there, and I said it for the basic people. Just start basic, take up a book. You can join us. If you're on a budget, you can look at IBD University. It's $97 a month. It's a digital college for Crohn's and colitis. And you can talk to my professors, go live 4 days a week. I've got an ND, I've got a DC, I've got a mental health coach who all have Crohn's colitis themselves.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
It is our digital. We're going to change the world over here, guys. You don't even know. Okay. I'm excited. I'm super excited about this. That's our cost-effective budget to help the world. Okay, our goal is 10,000 members. There's 8 million people around the world with Crohn's colitis right now, at least, and that number is growing, and that's not even including IBS. That IBS 20x that number. Okay, so that's number 2, customize. Number 3, become the CEO of your health by using your healing journal. And the biggest things, the moment I started journaling, my life changed. Okay, if you want to journal, you can send us an email at info@Crohn'sColitisLifestyle. I'll put a link for the 6 tips in the show notes, guys. Make sure if you're going to work with us or you want to reach out or ask questions, just click on the links in the show notes so we know you came from ATP. Okay. And so the third thing, journal. You need to become the CEO of your health. That means you need to sharpen your intuition. You need to understand what variables you can use. You need to start tracking your symptoms and your success. I call it a success tracker. That's going to be in that journal. It's already formatted. It's the exact same one I did for 6.5 months straight when I was housebound. Okay. So number 3, you need to start journaling. You need to start becoming the CEO. If you are not journaling, you are not the CEO. And if you're telling me nothing works and you're not journaling, you're out of integrity. Okay. Because you have no idea what's going on. You can't tell me how many bowel movements you had 10 days ago. You can't tell me how foods shifted your variables and your symptoms. You can't tell me what your next move is. And you're going to get overwhelmed with the idea of being gluten-free forever instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to take these 30 days or I'm going to take these 7 days and take action and then see what happens and then write on it, journal on it. And I can look back 2 weeks ago and know what happened. I can see a trajectory and I can see a graph of my symptoms. You can't.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you don't do that, you ain't ready. Because it's easy. It's 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night.
Yep. There's a great saying called you can't manage what you can't measure.
Oh, I love that. You can't manage what you can't measure. Yep. And I'm telling you, I started journaling. And the moment I journaled, I just built it out of nothing. I just machete paper and safety pins it together. And I was just thinking of what I'm going to do. And then I just said, all right, I'm just going to start praying. Why? Because it can't hurt me and it can only help me. And this nearly killed me. And I'm out of options. Like, this is it. I'm a kid. You know, like the rest, I was 20, I was young 20s. I had nothing. What else am I going to do? So get on your knees and freaking put your hands together and pray to whoever you want to pray to. But that just, for me, I was like, it can't hurt. It literally can't hurt. I need to put my ego down and I need to pray. I need to do essential oils. I need to put on Bob Marley. I need to go to bed at a certain time. I'm not staying up late. I need to turn that TV off. I need to get in the sun. I got a tan. I got my feet in the ground. I started taking care of plants. One little thing on plants, I'll side note. I love taking care of plants because if you try to watch a plant grow every day, it's like you can't see it. But over a month, you're astonished. It's the same thing healing yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. True.
It's like by the time that tomato is grown, I'm going to be no blood. You know, that was exciting. So I was like nurturing a tomato to grow as I was nurturing my colon to heal. Right. And so that's number 3, healing. Number 4 is get connected to a community and a team who is like-minded. Okay. I didn't have this. Now it's 2024. There is so much you need to do. You need to get involved in an IBD community or a gut health community or an IBS community or a rheumatoid arthritis community or a multiple sclerosis, lupus community. Get in a community. 2 things you're looking for a community: trust and integrity. Okay. Because everything else is uncertain. But if you have trust and integrity, there's always a pivot. There's always an answer and you are home. Okay. You need a home. You need a community of people who have MS or lupus or IBD. That's why I built this. I was alone. I had no community. We have over 1,000 members who are focusing on solutions, who are building their own personalized shield from around the world. I'm talking Australia. I'm talking India. I'm talking Denmark. I'm talking Russia. I'm talking Germany. I'm talking London, all over Dubai, all over Canada, US, tons, UK, tons. Okay. So that's the 4th thing is get involved with the community. If you can find and then the last one is, can you find a coach or specialist who specializes in what you do? One of the biggest mistakes I did is I kept hiring people without asking them these questions. These are the questions. Do you have any testimonies of helping heal someone who has my disease? Okay. Do you have any personal experience with this disease? Okay. Do you continuously work with multiple people who have a disease like mine, but also like mine? Like I'm IBS-D or IBS-C, or I've got depression issues, or I've already had a surgery, or I've got skin issues. Like, do you already have that? Okay. Number 4, what other resources besides your time do you have around helping with this? Ebooks, journals, community, live trainings, a program, that I can continue to utilize. All right. And when I looked around, it was a desert. And some of you guys are going, yeah, that's, I can't even imagine. Well, now that you've put it out there, you can start manifesting it and attracting it. Okay. So start looking. You can't find what you're not looking for.
Yeah, true.
Right. So that's the fifth thing is get involved. You know, my team, so we are for the people, by the people. All of my practitioners, all of our people online. Now, we are health consultants. We are not medical practitioners. We do not act as medical practitioners. We do not substitute for your doctor. Okay. There's a lot of liability around that. We're not touching that with a 10-foot pole. We are health consultants. We will partner with your doctor on staff, but do not stop seeing your doctor if you want to work with us. So, but my coaches, our professors, the people in IBDU who train, we all have IBD. We've all gone through it and had the horror of it. We've all been able to reverse our symptoms. Some of us have had surgery. Some of us still need to use a little bit of biologics. This is what we do. Okay. And looking back, if I had looked at that and said, okay, I want to ask the universe for that. I want to ask for someone who can really relate, who's really passionate about this, who acts in trust and integrity, has the resources to give me a home, give me a community, continue to give me space to grow. That's why I built it. I literally am just building what I needed.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let's say somebody wants to find more about your programs and everything. Well, what's the best website to go to? Is the one I mentioned before, or have you got any others? I mean, you're on Instagram,
Yeah. Instagram, Crohn's Colitis _lifestyle. Check us out. We post most often there. We're posting tips and trips and magnesium and testimony. So Instagram, you can definitely find us there. The website, crohnscolitis_lifestyle.com. You can also schedule you can apply for a free strategy session with one of our IBD support specialists. So we will do a 60-minute deep dive with you. There's no tricks, gimmicks. There's no cost. We just need to make sure that you're an applicant that is set up in a potential person for Shield. The Shield program. And, you know, if you're just at the end of your rope and you've lost your job and you have no hope, just ask us and say, can you tell us more about IBD University? That is our most cost-effective plan to give you a home, to give you a community, to give you trainings. And so that's how we can help. And, we're here to put our best foot forward. And I hope I gave a lot of information on what you can use and take home today and get real results.
Sensational.
I could just keep talking for hours.
Yeah, I know.
but we'll have all your links, all the info
on the screens,
in the show notes and the websites, that sort of thing. So, so Dane, amazing. What can we say? That was just, I could just keep going.
We go for hours, but thank you for your time.
Can I give I want to give one last piece of hope to anyone out there listening who's really been with us. Because if they're still here, I'm hoping that it's touched them and they got a result that, I've been in your shoes. I know how it feels to be hopeless with any disease. All disease, 70% of healing any disease is the same thing. It's the same. If I'm talking about fertility issues, multiple sclerosis, cancer, it's 70% of the same thing. Okay? You've got to simplify. You've got to work on the anatomy of the body. You've got to get the toxins out of your life. You've got to get your drainage pathways optimized. Your body cannot naturally handle these toxins. Okay? You can do this. Okay? Just accept right now that it's going to be hard. It's not going to be perfect, that healing is not linear, that you're going to have to pivot, and you're going to have speed bumps, and you're going to have to move. But being here and listening and continuing to listen to this podcast and growing, you're doing the right things. Ask for it. Ask God for it. Ask for the road and just be willing to walk it and focus on solutions. Stay in that pocket. You can do this. Your body is not meant to be sick. I know what it's like to feel like, no, my body is not meant to be healthy. It's at this point, it's past that, but I promise it's not. There are things that you are missing, and there are things that you haven't dealt with. And it is scary to take action, especially when it's not working in the past and you're spending lots of money. Okay. So use your time, use your focus, change your frequency, and just make a decisive decision inside of yourself. I'm going to tell you, I remember the day I did it. Do it right now. Okay. Repeat after me. I'm done being sick. I'm done being the victim. My number one priority is to heal myself and become happy and healthy at the exact same time and shift the reality of what it's like to live this life. And I am 100% committed to that. I am dedicated to that. Nothing will get in the way of that. And I invite any energy into my life that will support me in that mission. And the purpose of my day and my life is to be the best husband, wife, brother, sister, son, daughter, for my family, for my life. And I dedicate myself to this. because I know at the end of this road, I will be happier and healthier than I ever was before. And that is the purpose I move forward with. And nothing will stop me from making that my purpose and achieving my dreams. And I'm telling you, you're done. You're already healed. You do that, just say it and get the courage, and you're going to just rock star.
Amazing. So well said.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more, mate.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Dane. Love what you do.
It's been amazing.
I think it's great. I think it's amazing, and everyone should really, jump on, look you up. Very inspirational. So appreciate your time.
You,
it's been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. Happy healing. God bless.